I'm almost enjoying the food more than the wine.
All right, everybody, we're right at 4:00, so I'm going to go ahead and call to order the Executive Committee of Salinas Valley Recycles. Let's go ahead and run through a quick roll call.
Alternate Vice President Tipton.
Present.
Vice President Crumings.
Here.
And President Lopez.
Yep. All right, we're all here. Let's see if we have any general manager and department manager comments. We'll start with Patrick.
Well, I do have one unfortunate COVID comment to make. So we unfortunately had an internal office COVID exposure. Fortunately, there was only a few people involved, and this is a pretty insignificant exposure, but abundance of caution, we did shut the office down yesterday. So it's shut down yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and we'll be reopening with limited staff on Monday, but a handful of us will be out next week telecommuting, myself included, because we were part of the group of people that had a potential exposure in the office. So we're moving on, but yeah, will not be in the office. So if you need to get a hold of me, you've got my email, my cell number. You can contact me that way directly. And any calls that go in the office are forwarded to my number as well.
Thank you, Patrick. Any other department manager comments?
Since we're talking COVID, there was a new COVID leave that was approved retroactively to January 1st. However, along with the new regulations did open up for potential for some tax credits from our portion of Medicare taxes to offset those costs, but they're unclear on the information. So I'll be looking into it. They're not sure if the tax credits are retroactive to January 1st along with the leave, or if those are effective to April 1st. The regulations are not very clear on it, but we'll be looking into that. The leave that was mandated is for 80 hours, retroactive to January 1st, and it all expires at the end of September. But
I would be very, very interested when you find out specifically on the credits. If you could let me know, I'd be grateful.
I'm not sure if the credits are just for government agencies. I'm pretty sure cities and counties were eligible for it beforehand, but they just expanded it. But unfortunately, the webinar was at the same time as the exposure in the office, so I was dealing with other stuff as I was listening. So, but I will be listening to the information again in the next week or so.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it happens. Fortunately, the exposure was minimal, and we just had to, be safe with everyone. Send them all home.
Thank you, Ray. Any other department manager comments?
I had a comment. This is Mandy Brooks. We have, just a reminder, we have our tire amnesty event that started today, April Fools, excuse me, at all 3 of our locations. So if you have anybody that's interested or has illegally dumped tires on their facilities or land, now would be the time to do it. Tire amnesty runs through the end of May. It's all posted on our website. And then the other thing I was going to mention is that we are moving forward with our 1383 implementation plan, as we talked about last board meeting. But we'll be bringing forward to the board in April a new agreement with a company that is going to help us with community-based social marketing. And this will be the rollout and the messaging for 1383 implementation. This is a bit above and beyond what we normally would do with our marketing and media. So this is hopefully something will actually help guide the messaging for our outreach and education to hopefully encourage folks to participate correctly in the new residential food scrap collection program. So we want to make sure we get this right. We want to reduce the amount of contamination. So that's what will be coming forward in April to the board is a contract for community-based social marketing to hopefully eliminate contamination and encourage folks to participate. So just a heads up that that's on the agenda for April. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mandy. All right, hearing no
Chris.
one else chime in. Yes,
Chris, can I ask Mandy a question?
of course.
So, tire amnesty. So the city has a problem. City of Salinas has a problem with accumulating a stockpile of tires that have been illegally dumped.
Mhm.
And you know they can only bring them to you 10 at a time. Who do they contact? How can they rectify that issue so that they can get them out of the Public Works Department?
Yeah, so I think that the city has a waste tire hauling permit, and if they do, then they don't have to abide by the 9 or less per trip. And then they would just need to either give myself or Jana a heads up that they want to bring in the tires and to which facility. So as long as they have the waste tire hauling
Okay.
permit, then they can bring that in. We just need to know so we can let our staff know that yes,
Okay.
we want to accept
maybe
whatever
yeah.
truckload of
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mandy.
not a problem.
All right, let's go to committee member comments. How about we'll go to Drew first.
I don't have any comments right now.
Thank you, Drew. Christy?
I just want to say Happy Easter.
No tasty notes? How's the peanut?
I am drinking a $90 bottle of wine right now, celebrating my shot. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Good deal. All right.
Where were you?
I've got no additional comments today besides just continuing to be appreciative of staff's and willingness to be super serious about COVID. I know a lot of folks right now in our community are starting to let their guard down. It's not the time to do so. Thank you to all of you who have gotten vaccinated or jumped in line as appropriate as we open up to 50 and older today to make sure that you're in line for your shot as we keep going through this. The impacts are real. We're still losing lives. I know that the numbers seem low, but I know I've lost some friends here recently. Things don't get easier, and we have to just make sure that we do what we can to keep one another safe. So thank you. With
And
that,
actually, I do have something that I'm gonna add on to yours a little bit. Last Thursday, I lost a friend of mine that I'd known since college to COVID. He went in and started a new job. Just to point out that to everybody that it really can be a problem. He went into a brand new job, caught it, was diagnosed on Sunday, and died Thursday morning from a heart attack due to COVID.
Oh my gosh.
sorry for your loss.
And it really
So
does
incredibly
just happen.
sorry to hear that.
It really does happen just that fast and just that easy.
Yeah, I mean, one of my dearest friends got tested today. She's showing symptoms and just became eligible today for the shot. So hasn't been vaccinated, and I'm praying for her. So I hate to hear that, Drew.
Yeah. Thank you both. I can tell you right now, the greatest feeling in the world is on Saturdays working at those farm worker clinics and having 3,000. This weekend we're shooting for a little over 4,000 people come through, and my feet hurt so bad at the end of the day, but watching people come through smiling and seeing that sense of relief that they're feeling from having received the vaccine is oh man, there's no better
Oh my
feeling in
gosh.
the world.
And I'm so grateful to you guys for doing that. I wish my leg wasn't broken. It's just so phenomenal to see you guys out there doing that and that taking place in our county.
Thank you, Christy. All right, then let's go ahead and jump into general public comments. This is an opportunity for the public to share share comments regarding items not on today's agenda. We'll give 3 minutes per speaker. We ask that folks use the raise hand function located at the bottom of your screen or your reactions tab, *9 via landline to be recognized. Seeing no hands going up and having received no comments ahead of time, we will go ahead and close the public comment period for this agenda and head into our consideration items. Sorry, tongue-tied today. Beginning with our minutes of the March 4th, 2021 meeting. Are there any comments from the committee on the meeting minutes? Hearing none, we'll take it out and see if we have any public comment on the meeting minutes. Seeing none, we'll close the public comment portion and I'll bring it back, see if there's a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
And I'll second if I can get it off of mute.
Thank you, Drew. I've got a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Alternate Vice President Tipton,
Yes.
Vice President Cromings,
Yes.
and President Lopez.
Yes, the item carries. Thank you very much. So next we'll head into our February 2021 claims and financial reports. We'll kick that over to Ray.
Whoa, there it is. Okay, can you go ahead and go to the next slide, Rosa? Okay, so just a quick review. Cash balances, we do have at the end of February, $30,500,000. Most of it's restricted or set aside by board policy. Available for operations, which is our running fund balance, once everything's set aside for CIPs, is at a negative 175,000. So we are well in our way of, since we had our debt service in February, that's actually very good because we're well on our way of having the operating fund balance in a positive, which is an indication of good fund balance towards the end of the year. Next slide. At the end of February, our total revenues were up 88,000. Solid waste tipping fees were up 124,000. And diverted materials were down 45,000 to the budget. Year to date, we are up 1.3 million in total revenues. Next slide. And as I mentioned, revenues at the end of February were 1.6 million, actually about 100,000 ahead of what we did last year. And year to date, revenues are 15,900,000, about 500,000 ahead of last year. Mostly in diverted materials, the organics tonnage was way ahead of schedule, and we did adjust for that earlier in the year. Next slide. Expenditures, everything's in line. This time last year, we were at about 66.2% of the budget spent. We're at 67% this year. So I'm comfortable with where we are. C&D diversion shows a small part of the budget, and that's mainly because part of that program was put on hold due to delay in having that system installed with people not being able to travel due to COVID. So that program isn't fully online yet, but we're hoping to get that up in the next month or two. Unless there's any specific questions, that's all I have.
Any questions from EC members?
No,
Hearing
sir.
none. Oh, great. Hearing none, we'll take it out and see if we have any public comment on the presentation. Seeing none, we'll bring it back and we'll see if we have a motion to forward to the board and recommend approval.
So moved.
Seconded.
Thank you. With the motion in a second, we'll go ahead and start a roll call vote.
Alternate Vice President Tipton,
Yes.
Vice President Cromings,
Yes.
President Lopez.
Yes, thank you, Erica. We'll head into our discussion on administration building lease options, which begins by receiving a report from Patrick Matthews, our general manager.
All right, this is a fairly straightforward item. So as you know, our lease, our current operation or current administrative office expires at the end of this current year. So after our discussion back in February, I began discussions with our current landlord, and they came back with 3 different lease options. At first, we were a little concerned because there was some talk about the owners being older and potentially wanting to sell the property. They've since decided, that they're not moving forward yet at that time, and are open to extending leases. So they were very open with it. The only caveat would be is that whatever term we select, and we ask them for a 1-year, 2-year, and 3-year extension. The only caveat is whatever extension we get from them, there's no guarantee we will get another one based on the fact that there is at least some consideration going on within the ownership that the place could potentially be sold down the road. So having said that, what you have in front of you are 3 different lease options, again, 1, 2, and 3-year leases. You can see the price difference, $103,000 a year for just a 1-year extension, $95,000 a year for 2-year extension, and $86,000 and change for a 3-year extension. And the current rate is around $86,000. So a 3-year extension would, in essence, maintain the current lease rate. And this is the lease excluding maintenance, taxes, and fees. Those are split up between all the tenants every year. That's a fixed cost regardless of the length of the term. So this is just the basic lease term. So you have those 3 options in front of you. I think from a staff perspective, we would definitely recommend a 2 to 3 year lease extension. That would give us plenty of time to consider the other options on relocation. One, assuming we come to some agreement with Republic Services this year, then we'll have at least an understanding what the timeline is before we relocate. And knowing we're going to relocate will allow us to maybe focus trying to have an office either on the property or near the property where the transfer station is operating as our preference. Anything less than that, I think we're probably cutting ourselves short a little bit. So we would recommend either a 2 or a 3 year lease option. So looking for feedback at this point, we can come back to the full board with it's just a simple amendment to the existing agreement, just like we did 2 years ago. So it'd be a simple lease extension amendment to the full board. We're just looking for some direction from the executive committee.
All right. Thoughts from committee members?
I really am leaning towards a 2-year. I think a 3-year is a little too long, but I do agree that a 1-year doesn't give us the flexibility that we need.
And I was going to say the same thing about a 3-year, because if we're talking about a year to a year and a half before the transfer station even starts talking about getting moved, having that extra year to go through and do the move and find an actual real location, if we don't end up at the same location as the transfer station, will be a big help.
So Drew, are you recommending that we bring back to the board the option of a 2 and a 3?
I would suggest a 2 and a 3, yes. Completely ignore the 1-year lease as an alternative.
I would agree with that.
Okay. Sounds like we have some consensus from the committee on this. Let's see if we have any public input on this item. Seeing no hands going up, we'll go ahead and close the public comment portion and see if staff needs any additional input from the committee.
Yeah, just wanted to clarify the motion. So the motion is to actually bring back 2 amendments, the 2-year amendment, a 3-year amendment, and then have the board make the final decision and discussion on which one to choose. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all I
And
need.
it's agendized as just input, so I don't think it was a motion. I think it was just a general
Correct.
direction.
Just general direction, yes.
Well, I'm watching Roy closely over here in his little box, making sure he doesn't jump at me. So, all right. I think we've wrapped up number 3. Well, let's head into item number 4, which is an update on the Sun Street transfer station relocation project at City Salinas, 1-year notice of intent to withdraw. So we'll kick that over to Patrick.
Yeah, this will be really quick. I don't have a lot to update from the board meeting. We do have a meeting that City Manager Kerrigan has requested next week. The goal of that meeting is to actually sit down, and again, it's just a meeting between Caesar, myself, Steve, Jim Pia, and Dave Jacobs. So just the core leadership group for the two agencies. To sit down and actually develop a work plan and an action checklist or an action list of things that would be required to relocate to Madison Lane. So that list would be actions, challenges, and solutions. So we've been talking about these things. So I think it's a great step in the right direction to actually put this down on a piece of paper. Obviously, there'll be a number of things when either we get back together again with Republic or the city meets with Republic to define the things that Republic will need to do. So for the benefit of those listening, the challenge continues to remain the same thing. And that is that we don't own the facility, so we cannot control the timeline for the permits and entitlements that are needed to move all of our operations over there. We have indicated to the city staff and Republic, or a city staff in particular, that once we have those entitlements, relocation, or at least moving our functioning operational things to Madison is going to be a 6-month or less process. We don't have a lot of things to pick up and move. I mean, there's work that will have to be done to clean up Sun Street once we're finished and remove things, but those are things we would be taking with us to Madison. So the relocation is fairly simple. We just need those entitlements. So I'm sure we'll be talking about those actions and challenges. The issue of the green waste rates has been on the table for a while, but we've been told that is part of the discussion with Republic, sort of a package discussion around our relocation, extensions of their agreements or modifications to their agreement, as well as rolling in the green waste equalization rates. So those are all part of the bigger, broader discussion. So hopefully those will all be things we'll identify in the action list, determine what the challenges are to get past it, and then try to come up with solutions for each of those action items. And then we'll hopefully have something that we can work from that keeps us all on a fixed schedule to get this done.
Thank you, Patrick. Any input from EC members on that report? All right, hearing none, let's see if we have any public input on that report. Any legal input on that report? Just trying to give you a shout out here, Roy. Sorry.
I
All right.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear your voice for once. Hey, he's here. All right. Then we'll go ahead and consider that item, that report received. I don't think there was any need for additional input at this point, so we will go ahead and forward that to the board for direction at the next meeting if appropriate, and look at our future agenda items now. And I believe that's back to Patrick.
Okay. So I think Mandy already gave you a preface. We'll be working on some updates on 1383, as well as our social marketing contract that will be coming forward under that discussion. Obviously, we need to get past the biggest issue for staff and myself right now, and that's getting the rate package and the budget adopted so that we can give all of our franchise haulers certainty on what the rates will be July 1st, so they can get their rate packages done into their cities and provide the appropriate public notification of the rate adjustment. So definitely be encouraging the board to move that discussion forward. I know this may not go over completely well, but I think based on our discussions with City Manager Kerrigan, I think we're confident that he's really committed to solving this. And I think allowing the rates to go forward with the subsidy in place, the partial subsidy, makes the most sense right now, just so the city can complete what they're doing. And I think the next steps that are being outlined for our meeting next week give us a little more confidence that we're all going to be creating a calendar that we're going to hold ourselves to move forward with this and not just talk about it. So I'm hopeful the meeting next week will provide a lot of support for getting this resolved. But that is the request we're hearing from the city's administration, is they'd just like us to give them one more year to work through their issues with Republic and get through these negotiations, which involve us extensively. So those are my comments going forward on this item. So that will be the big item in front of the board next month. And of course, we'll be bringing back the office space options. And then the following month, hopefully we'll getting back to more items related to really educating, especially our newer board members, talking a little bit about landfill development, which we haven't done for a long, long time. We're updating our permits. It can be very interesting for people to understand the economics and dynamics of how landfills are run, operate, and are developed, as well as Ray providing an update on our sustainable financing efforts, things we've been working on really for the last 8-9 years to sort of deal with the underlying challenge of solid waste agencies in how we fund our operations in a way that's financially sustainable. So be interested to get some input from the board on our progress on that over the last several years. So it'll be interesting next couple of months in terms of good information coming back to the board and the public. So if there's anything the board would like, or executive committee would like us to add or include in the upcoming agendas, feel free to reach out to Eric or myself, and we'll be happy to put it in the appropriate slot.
You already fixed my road, so I can't complain. I feel like I'm missing my point here every month. I can't say, where are we on Gloria? It's beautiful. So I just wanted one more shout out.
We just had to find something else to complain about.
I know. I've been thinking really hard, but they've solved my problem. So any input from other members of the EC? Okay, any public input on this item? Then we'll consider that report received. Thank you very much. At this point, I believe what we have left on our agenda is closed session. Just want to confirm with Patrick that we do need to go to closed session today.
No, we actually do not need to go into, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention at the beginning, we do not need to go into closed session. We have no new information yet. We're hoping we'll have some progress in advance of the board meeting though.
Great, then let's go ahead and stop the clock. And I'd like to send a message to Rob to let him know we just had a 28-minute EC. And I think that might be a record in the last couple of years. So
I like it.
Got to rub that one in a little bit. So thank you all. With that, I believe we are adjourned. Anything else for the good of the order?
Thank you, Chris.
No, everybody be safe.
Enjoy that wine, Christy.
Enjoy
Everybody
that.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Everybody.